Welcome to the Nintendo Prime Podcast, Season 2, Episode 24. It is the day before Prime Gaming Fest. So because of that, we're going to keep this podcast on the shorter side of things. Plus, we're already starting a little bit later because we were out making runs for Prime Gaming Fest. If you saw or are watching the video version of this, you'll notice there's a different camera layout because, again, we're Prime Gaming Fest. Like, technically, if I just wanted to be Eric, hi, Eric.
Yeah.
Oh, look, here's me. And then there's both of us. Yeah, we got some fancy stuff set up for Prime Gaming Fest. But you know what? That's not what we're here to talk about today. We're actually here to talk about games and gaming events. So, without further ado, let's welcome in all of our guests. First off, we have Darren coming back. Who's
What's
just
up?
Nuggets and 6, apparently.
Nuggets and
You
Six.
just-
That's what's up. Andres is making a face. I know.
But
he
here's the
wants
thing.
Miami.
Andres is probably happy about that because the Heat and the Heat fans thrive off everyone betting against them.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it goes. So they
I'm a
take it.
Washington Redskins fan, dude. I know that feeling well.
Literally every round, we've been heavy underdogs and have won
Every round.
every time. Every round. Every
Just
round.
throwing out there.
Jay
I mean,
Butler.
even right now, we got a tight
We've
game
had,
head in
we've had the
halftime.
toughest competition too. So if we win it all, we beat literally all the best teams.
I've won
Yeah.
some good money betting on the Heat in this postseason, so we'll see.
But Denver and 6, apparently. All right. Speaking of the Miami Heat, how's it going, Andres Restart?
Good. Yeah, just watching the game. I've been still playing Zelda. Getting excited for Pikmin. I'm probably going to start a new run of Pikmin 3 soon. And yeah, it's been a good time.
Nice. Then we got been a bit since he's been here. Paul Gale Network. How's it going?
Pretty good. I've been playing plenty of Tears of the Kingdom on my side. Just hit 150 hours and probably not too close to the end. Well, I could based on what I did, but I don't plan to anytime soon. And of course, been playing Street Fighter 6. So yeah, things are good.
Nice.
Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, no problem. We also have apparently Nick with no K.
Yep. Everybody gets it wrong.
Forget the Barrett part. It's just Nick with no K from the Joystick Drift podcast. How's it going?
It's going good. I'm a little tired because I started a full-time job last week, and this is like the first full week. So I'm still getting adjusted to the sleep schedule. Haven't had as much time to play Zelda as I wanted to, but I've snuck a couple hours in there, here and there, getting Koroks, doing side quests, that kind of stuff.
That's good. That's good. And
I didn't know
we
we were
can't.
doing the "What have we been playing lately" section.
Apparently, we're just throwing that out there right now. Well, we did say we're trying to make the podcast a bit quicker today,
Yeah.
so I guess we're just
That's my
Biting
fault.
it on.
yeah. Right.
Apparently, I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom like everyone else.
I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom. And there hasn't been any other video game turned on.
Yep.
So.
I'm at I'm basically at the end of the story. I was gonna do a lot of side stuff before, but I got impatient and I did some of the last bits I needed, but I'm waiting to beat the game until I do some more. I'm well over 100 shrines. I got quite a bit more to go. Today I did take a break from Zelda to play Diablo 4. Played that for a few hours before the podcast, and I am so ready to get back into it. I can tell I'm going to be obsessed with that game. So
Nice. Just don't be like the one guy who was the first in the world to get to level 100 and his ISP went out and then he lost all his progress.
yeah,
That's
Yeah.
brutal.
That's very brutal.
Mhm.
And then, I can't forget him. We have Eric.
Oh, gosh. wow.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
close up.
Holy cow. Wow.
Giving you the zoom in.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm surprised
Welcome.
the camera hasn't exploded yet.
I mean, I'm surprised it hasn't overheated yet. But,
Oh, there's that too.
There's that. Anyways,
I'm
how's it
good.
going?
I'm good.
Playing your games?
Here and there. Yeah,
Tears of the Kingdom?
Yep.
Getting a little bit in?
absolutely. I think I'm almost to the first dungeon.
Yay!
dungeon?
Yay, Eric!
I think.
He's finally over 20 hours.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Now, the funny thing about this is not going to be talking about too much Prime Gaming Fest stuff till the end. We'll just tell people to show up. That's pretty much it. One of the punishments on the wheel might make me and Eric
God.
cry.
Yeah.
Or cry for each other. Because Yulia came up with the ultimate punishment. We have to delete our save file.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh,
Okay. I saw the tweet this morning where you asked people to submit, and I thought, what if you deleted your save file? But I was like, no, that's too brutal. That's
It is
no.
So what people they might not understand is during Prime Gaming Fest, we have a Wheel of Death. And pretty much it's guaranteed to spin no matter what, because any Nate versus Eric segment, whether it's video games or challenges we do, whoever loses has to spin the wheel. But also we spin it for every additional $100 total in super chats. So the chat can also make the wheel just spin like crazy. And we put a lot of way new stuff on it this year, just crazy stuff. And Yuli is like, that would be the ultimate punishment, wouldn't you? If that lands, one of you has to delete your save file. Neither one of us have beaten the game. I'm way further in than he is, but also for him to get back to where he is now at the pace he plays will probably take him another half year. So
Yeah.
neither one of us really want to lose the save file.
No.
It just cry. I'm just kind of hoping it never hits. So let's just say there's a lot of things on the wheel of punishment this year, the wheel of death, because we're hoping that one doesn't hit. But knowing our luck, it'll be the first
one
spin.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
And don't worry, it will be deleted live. You will see that it is gone. So,
Nate, how many hours do you have on yours?
I couldn't tell you right now. It's upstairs.
More
Probably
than
like 75.
That's
something
still
like
pretty beefy. Yeah.
Those are rookie numbers. You got to pump those up.
Okay, Darren, you don't have 3 children and a wife.
I might. I just they're
Dude, no, you don't.
here,
No, you don't. You're so full of shit. Nobody with 3 children has time to even play Modern Warfare 2 anymore. Get out of here.
No. He said he might. They just might not be with him. They may be out in the world, but he doesn't know about.
Oh, I mean, he's in a sperm bank donor. Who really?
I'm pretty
knows?
sure there's at least one, but
They're like Clorox.
I'm pretty sure, but don't know. Oh boy. The seed has been spread. All right, that's all we got out of that conversation. Let's get into our first topic. And apparently I destroyed the glass on the back of my phone. Good thing I have a glass protector, huh?
Yeah.
Live reaction. Nate cries.
Live reaction. I don't own this
on his
yet.
camera.
I got replacements. Anyways, all right. Let's get to the first topic, which is Nintendo Direct, maybe something. So Jeff Grubb, finally somebody who typically knows some things, put out there on the Giant Bombcast that he has heard rumblings of a Nintendo event in July. Now, he's not sure if it's a general direct or a partner showcase or a direct mini. Of course, he's not going to know any of those things yet. And he obviously noted that, hey, rumblings doesn't mean it necessarily will happen, but this is usually how it begins. You get the rumblings, and then we start to hear what type of event it's going to be, and then we hear a date. That's usually the order in which things go. And apparently some of the other insiders have kind of noted out there that they're starting to hear some things too. Generally, they hear the things because third-party companies that are involved are talking about it. So it does sound like Nintendo is going to be doing something in July. And, I mean, it makes sense. I obviously lean it towards it being a general direct because they don't have anything after Pikmin. And like last year, people always point to last year. We got the partner showcase. Yeah, but we knew about Xenoblade. We knew about Splatoon 3. We knew about Pokemon. We had 3 huge games we already knew about.
And Bayonetta.
Later. Yeah. And Bayonetta.
5.
Yeah. And Bayonetta, we technically didn't have a release date. They announced that after June.
You could, if you really want to be technical, it's 6.
Okay.
Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Splatoon, Bayonetta, Xenoblade.
And we knew Bayonetta was coming. We just didn't have a
Mario
release
Rabbids.
date
So
yet.
that's
Yeah.
I don't know
16.
if those two
Mario
games together
Rabbids too,
count as
yeah.
a full game. So,
And,
I
anyways,
mean, in terms of content, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are actually sizable. It's just the other stuff. But anyways,
Yeah.
the content was good. Yes.
so the point I was making is that it's sort of this unfortunate thing where we don't know anything. Last year, we actually knew quite a bit of games that were coming, even if we didn't have a release date for Bayonetta 3. That was one reason people pointed out we needed a direct. We didn't have that release date. But we did know about games. This time around,
we got a counter argument.
it's Pikmin 4. And then some third-party games, I guess, that we already know about. But does anyone disagree with me? Let's start there.
Dank Meme Center saying that Splatoon 3 and Bayonetta 3 were TBA. I'm assuming last year. But the thing is, we had footage for both games,
and they were announced as coming out that year.
Like we knew they were coming out.
The reason that Splatoon 3 was TBA was because they moved the date of Xenoblade.
Yeah. Well, it's not necessarily a counter argument. It's more like an observation.
Yeah.
So,
but we knew about it. We knew it was coming. We knew Splatoon 3 was announced for 2023. We knew Xenoblade was announced for 2023. We knew Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Like all these things were known to be coming. We don't have anything. That it wasn't like they told us earlier in the year, Metroid Prime 4, 2023. No, they didn't. It was Pikmin 4, and that was it.
So, my opinion, right, is there's a direct happening this summer. But if it's not a Nintendo direct, like a general direct, it's either a new type of direct that we haven't seen before, right? Where it's like maybe like a first party mini or something like that, or a Switch 2 one, which I think is unlikely, but I'll throw it out there. Sure. Or it's a game specific direct for a really big game that's coming out this holiday, and then the others are just social media stuff.
That's what I was leaning towards, was probably a game specific direct, because I mean, if they just have one bombshell game coming out,
well, no, I don't Pikmin 4 though.
Like I know you don't, but I just don't see them doing a one game direct when they have Pikmin 4 coming out.
I agree. I'm just putting it out.
Well, you're just putting up possibilities, like
right. Like I'm just saying, like if there isn't a Nintendo. So the thing is, you could say, oh well, we'll get a partner. The problem with a partner is a partner direct is meant to just announce third party stuff. Sometimes you might get something like an Age of Calamity, which is like a third-party collaboration, but
Cadence of Hyrule, maybe.
Yeah, stuff like that. But when you look at what we don't know about August through December, a partner direct and maybe one game announced through social media is not going to fill that up. So either A, Nintendo is going to completely break all patterns and just announce their entire slate through Twitter, their entire slate, or we're getting a Nintendo Direct. Like that's what I think.
And Nintendo's at Gamescom when they're usually not. They said they're going to have demos at Nintendo Live 2023. They're also working with PAX West. All of those things happen within 2 weeks of each other. So it's one of those situations where Nintendo is planning to show games at events. We don't know what the hell they're planning to show because they got to have games announced to show.
They're really
just don't know what it is.
Could be DLC, which would just be very weird.
They're really promoting the crap out of that Nintendo Live too, because I saw they were like doing pre-registers for
they are
merch and all kinds
hard.
of stuff. So like, there's got to be something there that would make me say, "Yeah, I want
hardware."
I know what it is. I know. Okay,
I think the radio silence makes people uneasy. But like Andres, we talked about this on your podcast a couple of days ago. Mm-hmm. The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom is so big that it could last most of summer without anything else dropping. It's a talking point. So I think Nintendo is trying to not muddy the waters by having so much new right now to talk about. That
I think that's just a mistake.
Let Tears of Kingdom have its time in the sun, and then have maybe not a June, but maybe a July Nintendo Direct. Let it bake, let it soak, let it be the only thing that people are thinking about. Not to trick people and saying there's nothing coming in the fall, but don't even put it on people's minds, because some people with a finite budget, maybe I'm not going to wait until, or maybe I can't buy Zelda because I'm looking forward to that fall title more. No, have everybody talking about Zelda, everybody soak up Zelda, and then have that little direct. So, history's shown 10 out of 11 summers. Nintendo has one in June. All 11 for 11 summers have one. So I think something's coming. And like you said, Nate, also, why would they put so much investment into showing up at Gamescom and PAX West and everything if they're not going to have anything new to play at the booths? Why would you go to the show to play something old? And not just Mario Kart 8 DLC coming out end of July, probably.
And for those people who don't know, Gamescom is E3 in Europe. That's what Gamescom is. And Nintendo has not typically gone to Gamescom. They actually usually don't. So the fact that they themselves announced they're going to Gamescom is like they wanted people to know, come here, we're there, we have something. What is that something? It could just be a single game. They've done it before back in 2016. Or it could be a heck of a lot more. It could also be People don't like talking about it, but what if it's hardware? Could be hardware, and they want to draw as much attention to these events as they can because got new hardware coming. Not saying that's going to happen. I think that's probably more on the wishful thinking list than reality, but they are going to have something, and they have to have it announced. I mean, they could announce it all through Twitter. You know, Nintendo does that. They've been doing it a bit more lately over the last couple of years than usual. But even then, they still had directs despite doing that. So I think they still see the value in them. And the big thing for me, I think, on why they might wait till July, Nintendo sort of likes to have the cycle to themselves. And if they can get clear of all these other people and then just have their own news cycle, I think they like that. Because there's one thing to remember is that PlayStation and Microsoft are literally in the middle of their generation right now. So chances are, although I know Sony's showcase didn't necessarily impress everyone, they're probably going to have another one later this year. At least that's what the journalists are saying. And that one's probably going to have much more first party. And Xbox is literally having back-to-back directs. One of them just for a single game.
Yeah,
and the other one for all their other games. Xbox clearly feels like they have a lot of games to show, which they own a ton of studios. So wouldn't be shocking if they did, even if they're not coming this year. And, you know, maybe Nintendo's like, hey, we don't want to get wrapped up in the middle of the generations of these systems. We're going to go when we want to go, when everyone's done talking about you guys.
I mean, the press around Starfield is going to be massive, too.
Sure.
They're dedicating a whole hour to that showcase. I mean, the headlines, you know, all the major media outlets.
I'll finally know what the game is. That'll be
nice.
Exactly.
I mean,
I keep hearing promises, but every glance of it is just a walking sim. So
right.
Like let's actually see the game. I want to like, what are we doing? Yeah, we're in space. Cool. If it's just a game about being in space, that's probably pretty boring. Just ask astronauts that are out there like cool visuals, but it's pretty boring. You don't really do anything.
Yeah.
Prediction. Metroid Prime 4 is coming up this year, and it will be considered pretty much unanimously a better game than Starfield.
That's a big ask.
Well, sign me up for Metroid.
I mean,
is it?
I love Metroid. I think it's a big ask because I believe that Starfield is going to be great. But like Nate says, so far it looks like a walking sim, so I could eat my words.
Hold on. When you say
it could be great,
when you say universally better than Starfield, do you mean like
reviews?
Performance, like it just performs better and launches with
no, I meant critically.
There's no way he was talking about sales numbers. He was totally talking about the fact that 95 for Metroid Prime remaster, this could be a 95 Metroid Prime 4, and that could be higher than Starfield.
I mean, maybe even
but Starfield probably has more interest in general.
Yeah, no way Metroid.
But it's one platform. Well, no, it's PC too.
Are we sure about that? Are we sure about that? I wasn't necessarily speaking on sales, but maybe. The sales is a maybe.
I guarantee you.
I don't know about.
I don't know if Metroid Prime 4 will top Metroid Dread. I hope it does.
All right. Well, we're not gonna have an argument.
I hope it does. Everyone goes like, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. No. Let me tell you something here. Okay, for all the most of the Switch audience never played Metroid Prime, and then Metroid Prime Remaster came over $40 and only sold a mill. I'm telling you, the audience still isn't really there.
Sold the mill in about a month. Like that's a good amount for a small period of time. But with
and Nintendo just had a financial briefing and didn't really add to the numbers. I'm just throwing out there that I don't think it's selling really that much anymore. So,
all right, counter argument. Quick counter argument because I don't want this to be a long argument. Remasters in general sell worse than the actual modern series. Great example, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition has not sold better than the other Xenoblade games. You would think it would because it's such a great game, but people just don't buy remasters as much. They just don't. Not as much as the actual game. So that hurts.
How many sales does Xenoblade 2 and Xenoblade 3 have?
I will Google it right now.
Is approaching 3 million, and I think 3 is it's approaching 2. Got to double check that.
I think you're right. By the way, I'm not doubting. The reason I bring that up is we're talking about we're talking about a series that both of them sold less than Metroid Dread. So I'm just throwing out there that I just don't think it's going to outsell Metroid Dread. I'm going to stand by that, and I'm just It is what it is. Now, does that mean, by the way, that doesn't mean Starfield's going to sell any better. And remember, Starfield doesn't have the PlayStation audience to sell to. And it's got Game Pass. It's got to sell on Xbox and PC, where it's going to be on Game Pass on both. So the sales numbers might not be now the player base numbers might be big.
Yeah.
It might have a big player base. It could have a 10 million player base, but it might only sell 2 million copies.
Yeah, that's
for the sake of the Metroid franchise.
It's a different marketing strategy, a different way they deliver games.
Listen, I'm talking about
critical acclaim.
I'm talking about critical acclaim.
That's what I knew. That's what you meant.
Yeah,
I know.
Right?
When we went to sales, I was like, "Oh, do not start arguing Metroid
Right.
sales.
So,
Do not."
yeah, but first off, also a lot of Microsoft
will-
IP don't necessarily sell well either. So again, that's up for debate. But we're not going to debate that today. All I'm saying is, you look at the history of Metroid Prime games. Historically, they are some of the highest rated games of all time, right up there with Zelda, and in many cases, actually better than Zelda. Not saying it will be better than Tears of the Kingdom
On average,
for the reviews. I'm simply saying that Metroid Prime is consistently a game of the year caliber rated kind of game. And I don't think Prime 4 is going to disappoint. It's going to be right up there. It's going to be one of the highest rated Switch games of the year.
So you're on the Prime 4s this year.
If it releases this
I'm on that train.
See, I think Metroid Prime 2 and 3 have to have a bundled together bundle for like $60, not quite of the Metroid Prime remastered caliber, but just, the two of them together, ship it in 16:9, call it $60 and release that before Metroid Prime 4. But if you do that, I think it's too much if you have all three of those games releasing in this year, because we already had Metroid Prime, and then that's 4, Metroid titles. So I'm kind of on the fence of like Metroid Prime 2 and 3 this year, and 4 next year as a cross-gen launch with Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo Switch. But I don't know. Like I wouldn't mind Metroid Prime 4 this year if it has been in development on the Retro Studios side since October of 2018 or so. That's going to be a 5-year development cycle, unless if it's already done. But I think if it's already done, we would have seen it at a previous E3. So I don't think it's done yet. But just
I think
when.
it's recently done.
That's a massive development cycle. This could be their Zelda Breath of the Wild moment, not in terms of sales, not going to sell 30 million, but of that quality, that paradigm shift into the new what's next to see from Metroid. Maybe it's a combination of first person and third, more than just morph ball mode. Like it's hard to say, but I think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be hot with good sales and high critical acclaim. I'm excited.
By the way, I'm really excited for Metroid Prime 4. I've never been sold on Metroid games selling well. And to this day, they've all sold about what I thought. So until I want Metroid Prime 4 to sell so well.
Oh,
it's
so do I.
If it's following the Prime formula, I think we kind of know where the Prime formula goes. I'm not, which by the way is excellent. It's high rated. In fact, could be rated higher than Tears of the Kingdom. That might sound crazy. Tears of the Kingdom's a 95, just like Prime Remastered this year. I'm just throwing that out there. Those that didn't pay attention. It's a 95 on Metacritic now. They have the same rating. They're within percentage points of each other. So Prime 4 could be rated higher. But it will be rated higher because less people will review it. Because there's less reviews of Metroid Prime Remastered than Tears of the Kingdom. So
that both helps and hurts, though.
It's true, but there are less outlets review Metroid. It's just, I don't know why.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, and I'm not disagreeing, but I think it should be noted that Prime Remaster is definitely going to have less reviews than Prime 4. It's a remaster for a $40 digital release that was shadow dropped with minimal marketing. Obviously, not as big of a deal as Prime 4. Okay. Not as many people are going to review.
I still don't think as many people are going to review Prime 4.
I mean, Tears of the Kingdom is arguably the biggest release of the entire Switch generation. So
that is true.
It's hard to argue at the moment. Yeah,
because I'm arguing, right? It's currently the fastest selling, right? So that's just where it's
I don't know. Scarlet and Violet. I'm just gotta throw it out there.
I will say, I know Andres brought it up earlier about the remasters not selling well. Xenoblade Definitive Edition is the worst selling on the Switch.
Thank you.
Definitive Edition has 1.6 million. Xenoblade 2 has 2.4 million. And then Xenoblade 3 has 1.8. But
2.4 is old.
Xenoblade 3 is the highest selling in Japan of all three, which I thought was a very interesting fact.
That is interesting.
What I also find interesting about
anime-esque.
Cross-comparing, Xenoblade, the original, came out on Wii very late in the generation. But Metroid
and
Prime
didn't even get brought to the U.S.
Yeah,
I'm
but
still
Metroid
waiting for my
Prime hasn't
Xenoblade
really
Chronicles
had a
export too.
Metroid Prime. Well, it got re-released as a trilogy pack on Wii. Hasn't been remastered in 20 years until now. So like, there's a larger gap. So you figure there'd be a bigger fervor for a 20-year-old game that literally most of the people alive playing Switch weren't even alive when it came out. I'm just kind of
And 40 bucks.
I'm just throwing it out there. Like, it's a brand new game as far as those people are concerned. Whereas Xenoblade could have been like, oh, that came out when I was 10.
Xenoblade's also currently a highly cultivated franchise, right? Like they've been supporting and building that for years now. Metroid's kind of coming back, but also, right? Prime the jury's still out on Prime Remastered. We don't know how the sales are going to pan out. It's at least it's more than halfway to the sales of Xenoblade Definitive Edition, right? Like it's already past 1 million. They're both like Xenoblade Definitive Edition is probably not going to hit 2 million. Prime Remastered might. We don't know yet. So,
Yep, it could. By the way,
the point is that the remasters in general sell less.
Sure. I think that is absolutely fair. That being said,
Metroid Prime 4 Direct in July.
No, that's not happening.
No.
That would be one.
I would love that. I really would love that.
Well, that's what I was alluding to earlier as like, okay, so my thinking was like I'm talking about very low % chance, right? But like my thinking is if this is meant to be like a transition year, right? And Nintendo's not going to have like a lot of really big releases. The big release wouldn't be a big release, but it would still be hype, and that would be Metroid Prime 4. You put alongside a few remasters, like that could be like their big thing, right? So maybe Prime 4, if they're not going to do a normal direct, that would get its own direct, and then they'll kind of just throw a few social media announcements for like maybe like F-Zero and a couple other things. That's like an alternative option to us not getting a direct, but I think that we're getting a direct. So
I'm gonna double down and say we're getting a Switch to your presentation before August. That's
there we go.
That's been my thing.
Well,
I put it on Twitter,
I
I
like
think
that idea.
yesterday.
I will say, if they're going to a holiday with just a couple remasters in Prime 4, no, you're just letting Switch die. Then
I think
that's no insult to those games, by the way. Those aren't system sellers. You're just letting.
And
the
they're not
system
supposed
die.
to be just letting their system.
This CEO said he wouldn't let that happen.
Yeah, he said that was.
So like, if that's the case, then you're dropping Switch too.
Well, there could be Tears of the Kingdom DLC, Pokemon DLC, like those are
DLC don't sell systems, man. DLC don't sell systems.
Yeah,
Never
except
has.
DLC is going to be Wind Waker.
Do you not think Metroid Prime
Seeds, maybe.
They just patched Wind Waker HD in. Sold the physical version. That's okay. Don't worry about it.
See, it was a leak. You just got taken down.
Yeah, right. Nintendo Ninja struck.
I think if Metroid Prime 4 looks
Because
good
camera
enough
one went
and
down.
is so highly rated, it could gather some of that first-person shooter audience. If everyone's talking about Metroid Prime 4, if it's that good, like no more than 11 million people ever bought a Zelda game before. That's an adventure game of a guy in a green tunic and swords and stuff. Not for me. All of a sudden, it went from being
7 to 8 tops.
Interesting to 7, 8, 11-ish if you combine a couple, different versions to 30, 32 maybe, So Metroid barely hitting that 3 million mark if it's good enough. And I don't even say like, oh, that's a small percentage chance. I think it will be good enough. I think Retro Studios, with seeing how many people they've been pulling in from different studios, I think it's going to be good enough that if it is that hot, it will gain the clout. More people will want to review it because it's a talking point. And then that could be a system seller. Not in the tens of millions, but, enough to keep Nintendo in that conversation of the holidays because they've got the cool first-person shooter, even though it's probably an FPA, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm putting too much faith in Metroid, but I'm kind of like Andres here. But I think it's good.
I like
it's
it.
gonna do well.
I like the positivity.
Yeah.
I'll also point out that my YouTube channel is Andres Restart, and Metroid Prime 4 had to be restarted. So,
Did you restart it?
That's like me saying my channel name is Nintendo Prime and it's Metroid
Yeah,
Prime.
exactly.
You get sued by Logan
Even though I'm
Paul
based
yet?
on Amazon Prime. But
Yo, what if the subtitle for Metroid Prime 4 is Restart?
what if it's Metroid Prime restart? Well, I see what
Metroid
you
Prime
mean. You
4
combine the two.
restart.
Yeah.
Metroid-
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, my
What's
logo
crazy
is
that
blue and
I could-
silver like Metroid. we're really just spinning this web.
Yeah.
To make
All right. So, is there any other games we think could possibly be unveiled at a direct
Apparently just
next month?
Metroid.
Holy
Okay.
crap.
F-Zero is
Here-
gonna get
F-Zero.
announced. Yeah.
Here's
Yeah.
my big brain. Maybe
Big
we
brain
don't get
again.
anything this month. That's okay. Next month, at some point, they say, "Hey, here's Nintendo Switch 2. Here's a
Go.
bunch of really cool games." And then they go to Gamescom and say, "Hey, we're gonna let some people go hands-on with Nintendo Switch 2." You hear all these people who are at Gamescom think it's cool. You get to use it at Nintendo Live 2023 in September with all of these cool new games. But if you can't go to that, you can buy it in October.
Ooh.
And that, I think that's their game plan for the year.
Oof. I like it.
Can you just get hired by Nintendo right now?
Yeah, right?
Hey, I got the plan.
I like it.
Nice.
There's nothing I dislike about that, which is why it's probably not going to happen.
if I
Right.
mysteriously disappear and you never hear from me again,
Yeah,
the
right.
Nintendo ninjas killed me because I got everything accurate.
It just seems too good to be true. It seems like
I know,
Nintendo wouldn't
that's-
follow through with that because it's such a good
You-
plan.
well, then what's the game launching with it? What's the game launching with it?
I think it's
Mario.
got to be something Mario,
I'll tell you.
especially after how good the
Mm.
Mario movie's done.
Has
They
to be.
gotta.
Dude, yeah, you launched
those
new
two
hardware with
together.
a new Mario game the year Mario came out.
Then you're at that point you're
Mhm.
just repeating 2017. You got the sequel to Zelda. You got a sequel to Mario Odyssey on new hardware.
And you keep the momentum going. You drop a 4K Zelda update,
Yeah.
repackage
Announced-
it with the DLC.
Announced with DLC that comes at the Game
Mm.
Awards when Tears of the Kingdom inevitably wins Game of the Year. They can do Game of the Year
It's
edition
gonna
with
happen.
DLC.
Yeah.
Mm.
Done. Done.
Mm.
Mark it.
Listen, Nintendo, I'll quit my job right now if you want to hire me. Like, I got no problem doing that.
I'll
Yeah,
say
no
that
problem.
we do oftentimes get hardware announcements from Nintendo in July.
Switch OLED was announced in July. That's all I'm saying.
I think its Lite was also announced in July.
Came
One
out in
that was gonna
October.
say-
So you're saying
They
there's
were
a
both
chance.
July. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
There's
a
a shit. I gotta
I mean,
say,
remember, Jeff Grubb just said rumblings of something happening.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Doesn't know what it is.
Something's new hardware.
It could be Switch 2
I
Direct.
was like, oh, there's a third party game. You're right. And they would probably show third party games on it, like Hogwarts Legacy.
And technically,
I mean,
when
I
they
gotta
put
say,
it-
I've been a Switch 2 doubter. I didn't think anything was gonna happen this year as far as a reveal or a release or anything. But every week, you guys gradually wear me down, and now I'm on the hype train. I'm like, yeah, it's coming. Just you wait, it's here.
I'll convert people to my train of thought with my big brain plans.
heck
I'm
yeah.
just I'll just say that I'm not really on the bandwagon currently. I want it to happen, but
I'm on the bandwagon in the sense of like I really want it to happen, but if it doesn't happen, I won't be heartbroken because I got Zelda this year.
Look,
either way.
I need games. I mean, unless Prime Gaming Fest makes me lose my
I don't
save
know. I
file,
got
I need
Diablo
games.
4. I'm chilling. I'm good.
I mean, it seems like we might have a Persona
That's
3
fine,
remake.
Darren. But there's a lot of people who only play Switch. You know, they need games,
Yeah.
and not all of
yeah.
them play Zelda. So,
Tears of the Kingdom, dude. You can sink like 2,000 hours into it. You'll be
but not
fine.
all of them play Zelda, man. We're not
They
selling
should.
125 million
Pikmin
Zeldas.
4, dude.
They
You can
should.
sink like
They should.
500 hours into that.
Okay, so the 5 million people that buy Pikmin 4, come on, we got to get something out there for everyone else.
Okay,
They just
here-
dropped new virtual console games. So you can play those.
Oh, jeez.
Here's where my theory gets a little spicier. Pikmin 4 already looks great. But imagine if they do a July Switch 2 presentation, they say, hey, Pikmin 4K. It can look even better. You can buy it now and keep playing.
Pikmin
But when the
There's the
new
play.
console comes out in October,
There's the play.
you can
And
switch it
Taker
over.
610 is with you, baby. Team
When are
2023,
you
let's
submitting
go.
your application to Nintendo's marketing department?
Right.
Right now.
4K Prime restart.
if you want, I could.
Whoa.
There
They
you
should
go.
just
There you
every
go.
new game, like you know, in the N64 era, so many titles were just
It had 64 in it.
So
Yeah.
the new one is just going to be a Prime restart. Just to,
Metroid Prime 4K. Pikmin 4K. Splatoon 4K.
Yeah.
Yes.
Xenoblade Chronicles 4K. It's all
It's
right
all
here.
lined up.
There it is.
Everything
It's
on
all
there.
lined up.
ARMS 4K.
Super Mario 4K.
Everybody's 1-2 4K.
Wait,
Mario Kart 4K. Forget about Mario Kart 9. Everyone's like, is it 9? Is it 10? Is it 11? No, it's 4K.
It's 4,000.
Or
Mario
maybe
Kart
it's Mario Kart
84K.
Fork. It's just about forks in the road. That's the new gimmick.
4.
Yeah, here we go. Okay. Well, we're getting a little off the rails here. So all right. So new hardware. That is what Nick's going with over and over. Probably a Mario with it. Let's go. Let's hold out hope because the hope is there.
I love it.
Merely because Nintendo hasn't communicated to us any other reason not to have it. They just say, "Hey, we have Pikmin 4 coming. Are you excited? We just told you to make character creation tool. Excited?
They're being so quiet. Why?
Yeah, that's what I mean though. Like Nintendo, here's the we just don't know. The whole reason that you can have hope for hardware is because we don't know of anything else happening, and we've never really entered this part of the year where we're like we don't really know what the second half has beyond. Like this is really weird. And the last time it was like this was understandable because COVID has happened in 2019, 2020. So we're like we kind of understood why there was a gap for a moment, but that doesn't exist. Like there's no reason now. The only reason that some people can come up with is well, they're preparing hardware and they just don't want it to overshadow the currently announced stuff up to Pikmin, and then they'll announce. So I don't know.
I'll say two things.
July Direct, like in the middle of July, and they let's say they have one more banger game this year, Metroid Prime 4, and they can also do a bunch of Pikmin 4 stuff and throw some indie games in there.
I will also
DLC.
say this.
That's a presentation. That's a presentation.
Dude, if they announce new hardware in July before Pikmin 4 comes out, and Pikmin 4 isn't announced as being ready day one in 4K, and instead is like being sort of left behind on Switch, feels so bad for Pikmin 4.
That'd be a shame.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They may not announce
Pikmin 4 might sell 5 copies. And it might be everyone on the
saying they may not announce Switch 2 in the July Direct if they're holding on to that and waiting for later in the year. I mean, if they have Pikmin 4 and one other game for a holiday like Metroid Prime 4, then that's a showcase in and of itself. You throw maybe a remaster in there like Xenoblade Chronicles X, Tears of the Kingdom.
Are you still holding out hope that X is coming?
I would love it.
I'm hoping, dude.
I feel like we would have gotten it already if it was coming.
I'm trying to will Star Fox into existence here.
I would love a Star Fox game. That'd be great.
The last Star Fox game was great. People complained about it, but I really enjoyed it.
Do you think they save a direct for after Pikmin 4 and let it be out
late
July, the week after? Like the Tuesday, Wednesday after?
I still think it'd be first half of July if they're doing it.
Yeah.
There's no way, in my opinion.
Plus, you can use it to hype up Pikmin 4 too.
That's true.
There's so much more we need to know about that game. So,
not to mention that they like to have the September Direct, and the longer you wait to have the Summer Direct, the more awkward that timing becomes.
Unless it's new hardware, then there's nothing awkward about any of it.
Then they don't need a September Direct, honestly.
Boom.
They got new hardware, drop all their games in August.
They'll still need a September Direct because they need to announce what comes out in the beginning of next year.
They don't have to do it in September. They can do it in November. They can do it December.
Sure.
Old school Nintendo used to do them randomly all over the time.
What in January 2024?
Tomorrow.
Well, the thing is, they may want to have a January game.
But here's the thing: if they announce new hardware, who's to say they wouldn't already announce games that would come early 2023 with that announcement? And then they can wait all the way till February.
That's a lot of announcements to make. Like,
how is it a lot? It could be 3 games. You have a launch game, then you have a January game, and a March game. What are we talking?
No, hold on a second. Okay, let me address that. We're talking about a Switch 2 announcement event taking the place of a Direct, which means it also is going to account for the announcements we were to get for the second half of the year. Mm-hmm. So by that logic, you're saying we're getting 2 games for the rest of this year and then 1 in January? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
No. Because you're still discounting that they'll still announce things on Twitter. They don't have to announce everything in the Direct that's coming this year. They've shown they're willing to just we'll announce this and it's out in a month. We'll announce this, it's out today. Like,
sure.
I don't think Nintendo's going to stop doing that. So
but
I think that they can announce that, like, hey, Metroid Prime 4 is going to come. It's going to be cross-gen, and we're also going to have a Mario game at launch. And then, hey, our next big game is going to be this. We have Mario Kart, whatever. We're going to blow your mind coming out early 2023. And they show us a tease of that, along showing us the rest of the booster course pass.
I'm not going to sit here and deny that Nintendo can't make announcements whenever they want, because they clearly can and have. But the fact of the matter is, the majority of their games are announced in directs. Let's think about it. January, Fire Emblem announced in a direct. February, Kirby and Metroid announced in a direct. March, Bayonetta Origins not announced in a direct, announced at the Game Awards. April, Advance Wars announced in a direct. May, Zelda in a direct. June, no, with everybody wanting to switch. Pikmin, yes. So only one game was announced via social media that's come out for this year, and the other game was at the Game Awards. Everything else was in a direct. And that's just this year. That's kind of usually the pattern for most years. So to think that Nintendo's going to fill up like 2 to 3 months for the second half with just social media announcements when we are going to get a direct of some kind, I don't think so. That just doesn't make sense.
Counterpoint.
It would be a pattern shift.
Sure. If Nintendo really wants to, if they really want to dominate the space, they do a direct in July and they do one in September. Just say screw it. Just do both.
That's probably what they're going to do. It made the September one. Maybe it is a little bit later. That's totally possible, especially if there is a new system for sure. But I still think that the point I'm trying to make is that we usually have like 3 periods in the year where there's an influx of news. I verbalize it in that way because it's not always a direct. It just usually is, right? So the early part of the year is going to kind of give us what we need to know leading up to the summer. The summer information usually is what we need to know for the second half of the year. And then that late year direct, which is almost always September. It is always September. That lines up. It gives us a little bit more information we need to know for the holiday stuff, like just a little bit extra advertisement. And it starts to build up the early part for next year. And that's kind of how the cycle goes. So even if we do get a big direct that's late July or whatever, or late summer, they still need to start to tell us about things to come out in the early part of the year before the year starts. At least that's how they've always done it beforehand throughout the Switch era. So, yeah, I still think we're getting a September direct.
If we get one in July, I don't think so. And I'm just going to throw out there.
Right, maybe it's not.
That would Nintendo having new hardware. If it's new hardware, that's my caveat. If it's a new hardware announcement in July, then I don't think they will, because Nintendo will be more willing to show quote unquote next gen games, maybe even a couple at the Game Awards. And that is how they tied you over into going into 2023 until the February direct. Now that's a caveat that it's new hardware. If it's not, then I don't really know, because obviously they could blow their load and announce everything for the next 6 months. Just do it right now and get it out of the way. They could announce some things, the bigger ones, and maybe do remasters in September. Announce those, maybe have that. I don't know. Like, I don't know. This is the weird thing. I just is over there talking about all the patterns all the time. Like, Nintendo does this, Nintendo does this. We're not in a pattern at the moment, because we are in a moment that Nintendo doesn't usually put themselves in. If we were in a pattern, we would already have a direct. Like, we would already have had it, or had it by the end of the month. Which, so it'll be within a week or so. The murmurs for July are from one person. If Nate the Hate comes out tomorrow and says General Direct next week, well, then the pattern's the same.
Yeah. So I'll say this. My stance has always been late June to early July before the rumors, because that's what makes sense, because one, E3 is canceled, Nintendo likes to do things to the beat of their own drum, so screw the early June timing. And then 2, because they do want to space things out, as Paul alluded to earlier, because of Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah. I do want to mention this, though, on the note of Tears of the Kingdom, because like sometimes we like to think, oh, Nintendo's being really quiet. What does this mean? Sometimes it just means they're being weird, because they were quiet about Tears of the Kingdom for a really long time. For what reason? There wasn't any new system. There wasn't like, it wasn't like because the game was bad. They didn't tell us about the depths just because. Like, they marketed the sky, and the sky is actually like a really small part of the game. It's a cool part of the game. It adds a really nice dynamic to it, but it's like,
it's relatively tiny compared to everything else.
Yeah. I mean, it's like more relative to the story of anything, and even then, So Nintendo's marketing sometimes, it's just like, I think we shouldn't look too much into the silence. It's just them.
But the difference is, though, we still knew about games. Like weren't marketing Zelda, but we knew when it was coming. We had a release date.
Well, they waited on a long time to give us.
We knew we knew about Bayonetta Origins at the same time. We knew about Kirby. We knew about Fire Emblem. We knew about all these other games too. And right now we know everybody's 1-2 Switch. Just announced.
Which I mean, honestly, could be game of the year.
You know what?
We don't know.
The fact that I think that's going to conclude today's podcast.
Yeah, right. And Nick's gone.
I mean, no better truth has been spoken. I mean, what else is there to say?
I wish that
right.
game was out before Prime Gaming Fest. It's too bad that game's not out for Prime Gaming Fest because every wheel option could be play a different mini game on everybody wants
torture. It's the wheel of punishment, not the wheel of torture, Paul. Come on.
I watched Nintendo Prime.
Look, I'm just going to pretend I'm not hearing what I'm hearing right now.
Every stream of yours, for some reason, people will be like, Eric and Nate, I want to see you twerk. Probably everybody 1-2 Switch is going to have like 5 different twerking mini games, and then the fans of yours could have got their wish. But it's coming out June 30th. So you all watching right now, you just missed it.
I think if 1-2 Switch, I think if everybody's 1-2 Switch can bring in, I know some people have said like, oh, it might have like Jackbox elements. I think if it can do that, it might actually be good. Because then you're not limited to just how many Joy-Cons you have or passing them back and forth. Look, anyone can get in with it on their phone. I know the game testers said it was bad, but I'm not going to say anything until I see gameplay.
I don't know what the game tester said about 1-2 Switch. I'd like to have context, how they reacted to that. Because I might be one of 10 people on the planet that actually really enjoyed 1-2 Switch and did not regret buying it at launch.
I really want 1-2 Switch.
I actually enjoyed it. Now, there's a caveat to this. This is a party game. But unlike a lot of other party games where it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 players, this one can let you have hundreds of players. And I was an after school teacher. So when we had free time, I would have 30, 40 students together and we'd all be playing 1-2 Switch. And it turned out to be an absolute blast. Everyone loved it. So you see all the jokes about it being played at the rooftop parties. Yeah. Let me tell you, people in college dorms aren't getting together to play 1-2 Switch. But if you get a group of children or family together to play it, it's a really damn fun game. And like, that's kind of what they intended. And almost nobody knows that many people to do that. So I was in the unique situation to experience 1-2 Switch the way they actually sort of advertised it, except we weren't on a roof. And it was awesome. People loved it. It was so much fun. So I actually think 1-2 Switch isn't that bad. Maybe not $60. Should have been lower price, or $50. I think it was. I think it was 50. Yeah. Probably should have been a bit lower priced. I think it should have been a packed-in game, but some people argue, well, that would have killed what exactly? I don't know what you're talking about. That's like saying people wouldn't buy Twilight Princess because Wii Sports was packed in. Like, just okay. Point is that it should have been a packing game, and I don't think this one's going to sell that well. But maybe I unironically actually enjoy it because I understand it's meant to be played with a lot of people, and I'll do that one time and I'll have a lot of fun. I don't know. I guess we'll see.
I do think it's really funny that
I'll probably try it out. What is it, $30?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll probably just get it, just a morbid curiosity.
I think it's funny. In 2023, we got 2 sequels to 2 2017 Switch launch games in Tears of the Kingdom and Everybody's 1-2 Switch. One of them was $10 more. The other one was $20 less. What does that say about the game? I don't know. I do think it's weird that they just dropped it. Like, that was the most unenthusiastic tweet I've ever read about Nintendo. No exclamation points, no nothing. Just Everybody's 1-2 Switch is coming out on June 30th.
No trailer, no screenshots. We have a horse.
Pre-order here.
And some cell phones. And you're like, it's just one of those. Nintendo doesn't believe in what they just announced because they just announced it without showing anything.
It doesn't even have.
It's not just that they just announced it. It's been over a week, and they still have showed nothing. We're getting closer to launch, and there's a game, guys. There's a first-party Nintendo game coming out this month, and we haven't seen anything. We've seen a logo.
If they feel this badly about it, why put it out at all? Like, if they don't
recoup some development costs, whatever. Recoup some dev costs.
And I think to get it out of the way, so maybe it doesn't fit in with what's going to come in a Nintendo Direct Mini, and that's why let's show
a disappointing
it now.
announcement if it was in a Direct or something.
Yeah.
Right, because
it'd be like, oh, this is the big game we're launching the direct now. Just well, thanks for setting the. You know what though? It could be like the last direct. Although Pikmin 4 notwithstanding, I actually like the Pikmin 4 opening. But right after that, it went into like this kind of a lull for like 10 minutes. And then you got to the second half and it just killed it. So I guess you know what? You could just start bad and still redeem yourself later. Nintendo showed that last direct. And I think that last direct just makes people more excited for the next one because we have a lot of months and stuff we don't know about things. And so it potentially could be a really big direct. Like the last one felt like sort of a bigger direct. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Is there any chance we get Zelda ports this year or no? Not with Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, probably not.
If there's no new system, I'd say there's an outside chance. Probably not. But I mean, look, if they're going to rely on ports and remasters plus Metroid Prime 4, then I mean, yeah, dropping a Wind Waker HD this holiday might not hurt.
I would appreciate
Certainly.
Twilight Princess HD. You know?
Yeah, Twilight Princess HD would probably sell more. Yeah. But again,
Not
we
to
just
say
went over.
anything bad
They
about
don't
Wind
sell as
Waker. I
well as
like
the
both
original,
games.
so then we shouldn't rely on ports and remasters.
It would also be the second time it's been ported in HD. And I
yes,
don't know if
but this
I
will
don't
be
know
the
if they can
first
get a
time it's
tough
been ported
sell.
on a system people own.
I just think the way
That's
they
true.
released it in 4K.
I was gonna be like, do we count the Wii U? Like, look, I played the Wii U, love it, but I mean, come on, 125.
I really
mil,
want
13
them to
mil.
package it in with the Midna amiibo, the
Oh,
Wolf Link.
that'd be
Pack it in
great.
again.
Pack it in, baby. Let's go.
I got
All right.
that one too. That was good.
We're gonna quickly get to our last topic here and wrap things up. So obviously, Nintendo may or may not do something this summer. We probably all think they'll do something, but we don't know what because it's too early. It's just murmurs at the moment. What we do know is there's a whole bunch of other summer showcases going on. A bunch of them. I have an event sort of like planned around some of it. So yeah, Summer Game Fest coming up. We have Capcom's got a direct, Xbox event, Starfield direct as well. Ubisoft has an Ubisoft Forward that apparently will have at least one game, Assassin's Creed. So I mean, it's better than like that the last time there was E3 and they just did walking simulation for 2 hours. It was I don't know what Ubisoft was doing there. We also have other stuff. The Devolver Digital Direct. Can never forget about them because even if you don't play their games, the directs themselves are highly entertaining.
Yes, they are.
So do we have any excitement? What's the temperature in the room for just everything else going on that isn't necessarily Nintendo, but could include some Nintendo stuff like Plucky Squire was announced last year at this time, and that's coming to Switch. We got some people excited for that. Well, how are we feeling at the moment?
I'm only really excited for either. I think it's based on the rumors I've read. It's either going to be tomorrow or Sunday. They're supposed to be announcing a Persona 3 remake and then some form of Persona 5T. We don't know what it is. So anything Persona this weekend would be great. But other than that, I'm kind of like I only play Nintendo, so there's like I don't really have a stake in any of the other console games.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to summer game. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Anders.
No, I was just gonna be another downer and say I'm a hardcore Nintendo fan. So like the non-Nintendo games that semi-interest me, I already know
Okay.
like I want, right? Like Resident Evil and Final Fantasy 16, and that's pretty much it. So
I mean, I'll be honest.
They didn't hear you, PS5.
I watched all
Yeah.
of the PlayStation showcase, and I thought all of those games looked the same. Like it was very hard for me to tell a distinguishing between like, okay, we're moving on.
That visual
Except for when they
style is
did
just
the
so
giant
popular.
Bwah. But other than that, I was like, nah, these are all
Those visual styles. It's just so popular with so much. Yeah, it's rare to see the more unique
Oh,
ones
I'm excited to see
outside of
the new
indies.
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
I mean, Odyssey was one of my favorite games, and when Valhalla came out, I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy it as much. So I'm interested to see where this one goes, and I'm really interested to see how Starfield pans out. We talked about how earlier the footage we've seen makes it look like a walking sim so far. So, if they're going to show off an hour of Starfield content, it makes me think that they have quite a bit to show. So I'm pretty hyped for that. That's definitely going to be something that I pick up when it comes out. And Andre, you mentioned the new Final Fantasy. I'm also pretty excited to see what that's all about and to get my hands on that too. So there's 3 non-Nintendo games that I'm looking forward to seeing footage from this summer. It's going to be a good year for gaming, and especially if Nintendo has a game or two for this holiday season. I think I'm going to have my hands full with games from every company everywhere. So, plus there's that rumored Star Wars open world game that's been talked about a little bit that I'm still waiting to hear about. So, pretty excited on the gaming front for 2023.
Yeah, I think what excites me the most about the showcases is because I don't follow all the other companies as closely. For me, it feels like so much new all the time. People are like, disappointed. I'm like, hey, dude, I didn't know about that game. The show was perfect for me.
All right.
So like, I love this time of year because even if it's something previously announced, it's probably stuff I haven't heard about. And I do own all the platforms, as you can see behind me with the Xbox, PlayStation 5, and obviously my Switch. So it's really cool for me just to find more games to play. Like I am primarily a Nintendo gamer, but I play. If it's a game that looks good and I want to play it, I'm going to play it. I don't care what platform it's on. Maybe that's just a luxury I have, but I don't buy everything. I can tell you that. Definitely don't buy anything. I got like 2 PS5 games. All right, like I definitely don't buy everything, but it is like as an example, I am looking forward to Spider-Man 2 because that is one of the games I have played on PlayStation 5. I played the Spider-Man and Miles Morales, and I loved them. So I am looking forward to that. But just looking at the rest of the showcases, I mean, there's so many good games. I think what surprises me every year that I watch this stuff is how many of the games actually are coming to Switch, because I always go in expecting none, and I walk away with like, oh, no, it's got a Switch logo. Another Switch logo. Another Switch logo. What is going on? Mm-hmm. Now, Nintendo, hear Jeff Keighley's plea. He did an interview recently, and he literally called out Nintendo and said they're the only major company he can't seem to get to work with him on Summer Game Fest, but will work with him on the Game Awards. He's like, maybe if we put a little public pressure on Nintendo to act like they're with the rest of the industry beyond just accepting awards, it'd be great. So yeah, Jeff Keighley just kind of threw out there that he has actually tried talking to Nintendo to get them to show at least one thing, and Nintendo just chooses not to. But he did say they have had conversations, so it's one of those when Nintendo feels the time is right, and I probably feel like it's more like once new hardware's out there. Maybe Nintendo might be more like, all right, let's come to the part. Like I have a feeling, as an example, if Tears of the Kingdom was a holiday game and they weren't doing a direct, Nintendo would just drop the Zelda stuff at this event because it can hang with all the other games they're going to show. But yeah, I think it's one of those things that Nintendo's waiting for the right time, and they kind of do that with the Game Awards too. Yeah, they're always there to accept awards, but when they have a year that they think they have a game that's worth showing there next to all the other big games, they do it. They just did it last year. Like they will do it. So Jeff Keighley's just trying to get them to be like, hey, if you're done with E3, like
that's the thing.
Nudge, maybe give us at least a game a year. That would be great. So we'll see what happens in the future. But obviously Nintendo didn't want to do it this year. So
maybe they'll do it next year if they drop new hardware this year.
It could be that. I do think a lot of it is just new hardware and Nintendo wanting to make sure they have a game they think that fits with that audience.
My uncle
and Zelda would have fit with that audience, but they weren't showing Zelda any of these summers. So, there should be. I don't remember. It was announced in 2019, dude. Did they ever show it any summer since? No, they did not.
Yeah, they did. They showed it in 2021. I remember because I absolutely lost my mind.
Yeah,
and,
they
function.
closed. Didn't they close with another trailer that showed us nothing again?
Yeah, I mean,
it was another nothing burger. So I guess they technically showed a nothing burger to remind people it exists.
Looking back, they showed us the main theme. They showed us this end. They showed us Recall, and they showed us the Dragon's Tears.
Technically, they did show us all of that without us knowing what it is. And
they said 2022, the biggest lie in gaming history.
The Tears of the Kingdom. I understand the title now, by the way, and I haven't beaten the game. It just becomes super obvious at one point what the point of the title is.
I don't know how they.
I still don't really know how it's a spoiler, though. Like, there's no way for you to be spoiled unless you played the game. So, I still don't. I still hate that excuse when they say we can't tell you the title because it's a spoiler.
I think too many people put too much stock into that quote. It was just PR speak. So.
I think they also probably just needed a good answer as to why they didn't want
I don't think they had a title yet.
That's 2 years, really?
Yeah. I don't think they had it yet.
honestly, based off, I think they probably knew where the story was going back at E321. So, I mean, it's.
I mean, they had
Yeah, they probably knew the direction.
A
of
lot
the
of
They had
stuff
to.
is written.
They had to
Yeah,
have at least
probably.
had the tiers done because they showed the little animation of the
Yeah.
They did.
And I mean, side note, I'm at the end of the story, and I still have no idea what's going to happen, and I'm hoping that some things get resolved. So,
It's
I mean, it could take on a
really
whole new
good.
meaning at the end. I
Nintendo
don't know if
fan.
anyone here has beat the story, but
I just want to say that I've seen a lot of people say that Tears of the Kingdom retcons a lot. I don't agree. I think people are
we
just
will
not
debate
filling
this.
in the gaps.
We will debate
appropriately.
this another day if I
Yeah.
ever beat the game, because I have to beat the game.
Nick, what was that face? Was that face in?
No,
how
no,
dare
no.
they? Or you disagree? Do you agree or disagree with me?
I
wanna know.
totally disagree with you. I finished the
Okay.
story, and even just going off the memories, right? I don't know how this fits in the timeline. I've seen a couple
Bleep.
theories that are
Bleep.
like, it's so far.
I got to
in
beat the game, but I can't fully comment until I beat the game. So,
I'm gonna have to make that.
but
video.
I guarantee you that we will have a spoiler cast at some point this summer, and that will probably be one of the topics that we talk about.
I
Because
mean, if
it's
you
obviously
wanna-
heavily story related.
If you want to talk about retconning stuff, I mean, 90% of the stuff from the 2019 reveal trailer is not in the game. So,
they
which-
did that with Twilight Princess too.
I mean, granted, it was 4 years ago. A lot can change in 4 years.
Yeah, that was more of like a proof of concept.
They're like, hey, we are making a game.
Yeah.
It will come out in the future. Thank you.
It will come out in the future.
Yeah.
That being said,
that bison is just gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
not looking good for your Heat right now. By the way, I'm sure you're aware.
You don't need to tell me
Ooh, I
that.
haven't checked the score.
Darren's Heat Nuggets.
But
and
let's just put it
Sixers
this way:
is looking
the
pretty good
run
right
either
now.
happens now or it's
I
never
just checked
happening.
the score. Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the run
okay,
happens
so-
now or it's over.
Rub it in,
Yeah.
why don't you?
16 points down with 6 to
The
go.
thing is,
So.
there is the best team.
There's
in
a
the
chance
fourth
because they're the
quarter
best
is
close.
doable,
Yeah,
though.
they're the best closeout team, and so if there's a complete collapse, it's possible.
Nuggets are gonna cover.
It's
But
unlikely.
It's very even Heat fans know it's unlikely, but if it happens, you'll just be like, "Yup, it's what we do. We close games, baby.
Yeah,
we close."
10 points is one thing. 18.
Yeah, 16. It was just 20, so they did just knock it down
Yeah.
5 points. But
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
they did it twice. The Bucks.
they've
15,
done
16,
it a lot. It's what they
oh
do.
yeah, no, they do.
23
No,
now.
they can. It's not that they can't do it. It's just this one feels. So the other ones that they came back on, it wasn't quite this less of time left. But
No, very
who
close.
knows? Who knows? All it really takes is Denver misses everything, and you start drilling every 3 you take. And
You can't stop the
like-
Joker, baby.
that being said,
Oh, that was a clanker.
it's
I got it's not pretty, guys. It's not pretty. for
It's
my
not
Heat.
pretty, guys. Anyways, just to throw out there, because this time of year, Nintendo fans always wonder like what to pay attention to. Well, the last time we got any like real Silk Song news was at an Xbox event, really. So if it's possible we could see more Silk Song stuff. Also, because of how many games didn't make it in Microsoft's 12-month window, Phil Spencer went out there and said, "Yeah, we're never doing that again." Never announcing that all the games are coming out in the next 12 months because over half the games missed the 12-month window. So which, by the way, most of it wasn't really Microsoft's fault. It was all the third-party games that promised they would come out in that window and then just didn't. So Microsoft, I guess, learned a lesson that other companies have had to learn along the way. Don't promise things that far out. That being said, there's a lot of exciting things that sometimes happen for Nintendo. It's just if the only thing you play on Switch is like Nintendo published games, then this time of year right now is probably not that exciting. And this whole month might not be that exciting if the only game we had to look forward to is everybody's 1-2 Switch from Nintendo published games. That being said, we could get DLC drops. Won't get announced this week though. And if you're into other things like third-party games that could potentially be on Switch, indie games, this is a great week because there's a bunch of indie showcases. Most of those games come to Switch. So it could end up being a quite lovely week for some Switch owners.
Did you see
Or
the
it could be
Shredder's?
nothing.
Sorry, did you see the Shredder's Revenge update?
No, I haven't
Oh.
seen
That DLC, like Ninja Turtles, was an awesome game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Last summer.
that one, that's literally the kind of game I would love to just sit down, get some pizza, and play with my
That was
boys.
fun.
Like, would be
That's the kind of
fun.
game that is, though. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's exactly. And they love pizza, so it's
Yeah,
Very
right.
fitting.
You're fitting right in, man.
it kind of would like take me back to the 90s, which would be cool.
Yeah.
I
By
mean,
the
that's
way,
pretty much how
in
we
the
all played
90s,
Turtles.
I was a little kid. I was in the single digits, just for the record, but it was cool.
In the 90s, I was in negative digits.
And don't remind me.
Holy
Okay.
smokes!
You know what?
I wasn't even alive yet.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
double digit. I don't want to even talk about. I like the 90s, but the more I remember of it, the more I realize that we're slowly creeping up on that being over 30 years ago. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't want to think about how long ago that was.
Yeah.
I remember it like it was yesterday, but it was a long time ago yesterday at this point.
Playing Ocarina of Time as a sophomore in high school. Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
It's good times. Good times, though.
Anyways. So yeah, anything else anyone's excited about with any of these showcases? I mean, there's ones I didn't even talk about. There's a lot.
If I get Perfect Dark from Xbox and it looks good, I would be very happy because
I will say we have a Capcom presentation that's 36 minutes long. Maybe we finally see that Resident Evil that was supposedly being made for Switch.
That
would be pretty epic.
I mean, it's a 36-minute presentation. They got to have something. So I'm just.
Capcom is one of my favorite developers, but presentation-wise, over these last summers,
They've
it's kind
been
of
bad.
like
Their presentations have been rough.
They could bust out a new Mega Man X, and that would be hot.
And that they can't lean on, we got Monster Hunter Sunbreak. Nope, you just
Mega
released
Man
the final
X.
update for that, so it's not Sunbreak. So what are you going to show me? So I'm kind of excited that they wanted to do a showcase because to me that means they have something to show. But then we remember all their last showcases, and you're like, oh.
That's true. You have to imagine that something's on the way. That's like you said in the past.
But that's the thing. Like, if we actually think about it, all of Capcom's their last 10 major game releases have actually all been utterly fantastic.
Street Fighter,
but their presentations have kind of not been. And I don't know how are you releasing this many great games, but then your presentation sucks. I don't get it. Maybe that's it. Maybe they think that's the key. Our presentation has to suck so our games remain good.
Release the games first and then do a reveal or a trailer on the games that already came out. And just the DLC updates. Because Street Fighter 6 gets something, here's the next round of characters. Yeah. What else do you do? Here's an update on Resident Evil 4.
I think it'll be maybe some sort of Monster
VR,
Hunter, possibly.
Monster Hunter.
Could be something related to one of their Monster Hunter games. I have no idea what one.
The new Final Fight would be fun.
A Final Fight.
We saw Streets of Rage get it, Ninja Turtles get it. Capcom's one of those companies that have so many IP that they could really dig into the past, and anything they would do, people would be happy about. I feel like that's the way with Microsoft and Rare. If they utilized Rare with here's a new Conker's Bad Fur Day. Here's a new
don't even
here's a new Blast Core. We know we got Perfect Dark. Here's new Killer Instinct.
Don't even.
Microsoft is worried with that statement. We can't just release a game and have people sway over to Xbox and leave PlayStation. If you properly utilized Rare for the last 20 years, you could have done that because the Nintendo gamer that wanted Rare titles that they loved, the Xbox platform would have become their next machine. And maybe they would have been buying too, but you do updates of those titles once every few years and you would have built that audience up. I
think Rare Microsoft games are some of the those are some of the games that stick out to me the most, right? Like even Sea of Thieves, right? Like that's something made by Rare that I kind of keep tabs on. It does appeal to me as I don't want to say I don't like Microsoft games, I do, but I don't like the typical cliche,
the bro game thing.
Yeah. I mean it's not.
Gears,
I do like
Gears, Halo.
Yeah. I mean, I do like playing Call of Duty and Halo occasionally. I do, but not every single. That's not my thing. I like it when games kind of stand out when there's something unique and they're more of the fiction, sci-fi, fantasy route, and not let's just make another Call of Duty or FIFA game. So those appeal to me more. So for sure, I see where you're coming from with that.
Andre, the Heat's down by 6.
Who's making Avowed? What team is behind that one?
6? Why spoil it?
You mean 16? What are you talking about?
6.
It ain't 6.
Obsidian.
You're wrong.
I have the game up.
He's an alternate reality.
Yeah, you're in an alternate reality.
Maybe my app is wrong. I'm looking at my phone.
30 minutes behind.
Yeah, maybe my app is like 30 minutes behind.
6 would be crazy.
Yeah, that would be insane right now because there's like
6
4
would be
minutes
me
left.
leaving the podcast to watch.
Yeah, 6 would be I'm ending the podcast. I got to watch the end.
Yeah.
And I'm not even a huge fan.
I have one other thing that I'm looking forward to that I know is happening. That's not a rumor like Persona. Tomorrow they're showing the trailer for the new Fortnite season.
Yes, they are.
Mm-hmm.
That's about
Hey,
it. That's the only thing I
Fortnite's
know
on
that's
Switch.
happening.
Yeah.
Fortnite's on Switch.
I have
played a little bit of
290
this
hours on
season.
Fortnite and Switch.
I played a little bit of this season. I enjoyed it. Not as much as the season before, but I might hop back in
Fortnite
for.
kind of made a little comeback when they added Zero Build.
Oh,
Yeah,
I only
no,
play
I
Zero Build.
only play
The only
Zero
reason I
Build.
play it.
Yeah.
I never liked the buildings aspects. I always thought it was unique and cool, but I suck at it. So Zero Build is
too
so
fast.
much more appealing.
Here's where I got stuck as I played some Fortnite tonight, and I didn't realize how similar Fortnite and Tears of the Kingdom are. And you just got to hear me out on this one. I was diving from the battle bus, and I tried to press R to dive faster. And as I was running through like stuff, I kept looking at platforms above me and pressing L to do ascend, and I couldn't do ascend. I'm like, oh, okay. So then I would
keep
switch
trying
over to
ascend
Tears of
in
the
Modern
Kingdom.
Warfare 2.
I've been trying to ascend in real life.
Same.
Like legit, I saw a bridge the other day. I was like, oh, I can't do that.
I see stuff and I'm like, oh, that's too far away to ascend through. But there's an area underneath it that's a little closer, and I could go through that and go all the way up. This game has broken me mentally.
Because the thing, it is exciting because when you play Tears of the Kingdom and you have to get used to new abilities, your brain is like creating new pathways because you're coming with a new way of thinking, and it's kind of fun when that's one of the reasons why I love like trying out new games in general, because it's forcing you to think of a new system. Like that's not just with video games, it's with board games, sports game. Like there's like a new set of rules. It forces you to think of things in a different way. And Tears of the Kingdom, it's to another level. So yeah, it kind of deludes you from reality.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
I'm gonna use stasis.
I
love to recall myself back into bed.
Yeah, I think that actually is going to do it for the podcast today. I still have a lot to get ready for Prime Gaming Fest. So, by the way, you guys check out Prime Gaming Fest. It is when we end this podcast, the live version, it will actually kick you to it, so you can set your notifications. This begins on Thursday at 8 a.m. going to 8 p.m. And it is like that again on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. Lots of giveaways, lots of stuff. In fact, I think every person on the podcast right now, but the real Dern over there, is actually going to be a guest on the show at one point.
Just waiting for my invite, man.
So, that's pretty exciting to see Paul Gale on the start. Nick with no K. You know, Darren, I probably should have you. Look, if my Xbox guy doesn't come through for Sunday, I might have to have you on just so you can. I don't know. You're the only other person I know that plays stuff that isn't Nintendo. So I don't know. It might not even be the right person.
Just for the record, I like playing non-Nintendo stuff. I just haven't had the time to in recent years.
I haven't had the time to play Tears of the Kingdom. So that's why if I have to delete my save file in the next 4. By the way, tune in because that might lead to save files being deleted, and I might cry.
You shouldn't have imposed that upon yourself.
Yeah,
but you know what's fun about it? You know what I will say is fun about it if it does happen. I'm trying to spin a positive if it happens to me. I think it's safe at this point for me to stream the entirety of Tears of the Kingdom start to finish, and not have people yell at me about spoilers.
Oh no, somebody still will.
So I don't think so. Not at this point. If I'm starting brand right now,
no, you're allowed to stream the game. You just can't put a spoiler in.
No, well, like I can't. Here's the thing: people refuse that. Like I would start off with 300 people, and then it would drop to 50 the moment anything story related happened, and it would just never recover.
I
think it's safe now. I think people won't leave now because they know more than me.
It'll be out for a month almost. So yeah.
Yeah, they'll know more than me. That's the thing. The people that'll tune in are the people that being like, all right, I played through. Now I can watch Nintendo Prime play. And they're all gonna wait for the one shrine that I said in my one video. That is not the correct way to do it. That is not the intended solution. And they all told me I'm wrong. And then they're all like, wait a second. If he thinks that's not what do you think the solution is? And I'm like, oh, well, I got to replay that shrine for you then, don't I? So there could be a silver lining. No, I do not want to delete my save. I'm so close to like, I feel like if I go hit that last one dungeon thing I haven't done yet in the story, then I'm really after that probably not that far away from actually completing the story if I just wanted to, and I don't want to feel like I'm now this close to completing the story to now
infinitely more farther away.
Anyways, that's just gonna make me stay up all night tonight trying to complete the story bomb rush through.
Just in case.
Anyways. All right, guys. Well, you guys should go ahead and follow all of our guests. Nick with no K, where can they find you?
Well, you can find us over at the Joystick Drift Podcast on YouTube. We're also on Instagram and all that fun stuff. I would plug a video, but we're a little behind. We ran into some technical issues this week, so we couldn't put out an episode. I'm working on it. But when you work 40 hours a week, it is a little difficult to find the time to edit that podcast. So it's coming out eventually. And I'm pretty sure we're recording a Tears of the Kingdom like spoiler cast this weekend. So for those who have beaten the story, you can look forward to that. We're going to go into everything. And I can guarantee you we do not all see eye to eye on things. So it will be a very interesting conversation.
And then here's the Heat about to make this a single digit game with under a minute left, putting their bench guys in because they're hitting threes now. Anyways, they're still not going to win. But
they might.
But they're gonna make it look like it was a tight game. Is what's about to happen. But
they might.
No. It's just I already know they're not coming back. There's no.
All right, let's end the podcast so I can watch the end of the game.
That being said, Paul Gale Network, where can they find you?
Paul Gale Network on YouTube and Twitter, and YouTube has a little bit of a variety of things that I do, from martial arts to some video game unboxing and coverage. And on the Twitter side of things, a lot of video game sales talk, and dropping some unique numbers and some perspectives and that kind of thing on the video game industry.
Nice. Andres Restart, how about you, buddy?
Yeah, Andres Restart. That's my YouTube channel, so you can go there to watch Nintendo theories and discussion. I put out a Pikmin 4 trailer analysis today. We'll see how that one goes. We'll see. Yeah, there's a little trailer, and I'll be talking about Metroid Prime 4, Nintendo Directs, and Tears of the Kingdom timeline shenanigans later this week. So there's a lot planned.
Heck yeah.
Stay tuned.
So you want standalone videos, go watch all these guys' channels because I won't be making it. Dern, we just skip you. Eric.
I'm on Twitter at RealDERN. You can follow me. Follow me there, please. Boost my ego to see that follower count go up.
He's going to show up in the chat and be like, why am I not on? Why am I not on?
Yeah, definitely.
I should have made you fly out here for the whole show. You could have been on the whole time.
I would have too. If you let me know in advance, I would come out.
I would have. Yeah, I would have just taken off of work. You would have played Tears. You wanted another week off from work to play Tears of the Kingdom. Let's be honest.
I would do that there too. I'll take my Switch with me.
All right, Eric, you can find him on Twitter as well at emo8790, or just stay tuned right here the next 4 days, live 12 hours a day. You're going to see a lot of Eric. And I mean a lot. Almost as much as you might see Bama Hut gifting memberships, because he's now gifted 10 memberships in the last I don't know, 2 minutes. So maybe he'll keep that going with Prime Gaming Fest. We'll see. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you maybe not the same time next week. We'll see. It's a little bit in flux. I got to get through Prime Gaming Fest. Catch you guys later. Peace out, guys.
Peace.